Welcome to another episode of KTM Summer Grill. My name is Simon Chapman, and today I'm joined by Tony Quinn, proud new owner of Queensland Raceway.
Yep, absolutely.
What a story. It's one that's been brewing for how long? Over a decade?
15 years, I would say.
Gosh.
15 years. And I've finally arrested Queensland Raceway from John, and I am very, very happy. There's a whole lot of work to do. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I am delighted. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. I'm on the highway. I'm making phone calls to New Zealand. I'm at the track. I'm cleaning toilets. I'm doing whatever I'm supposed to do. There's lots of stuff going on. And you know, the guys tell me that there's 3 weekends next year that are free. It's incredible. It's busier than it's ever been. So happy days.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Why QR? What's the attraction for you?
Yeah, look, obviously I've got tracks in New Zealand which are a different level altogether. And you know, like Highlands is just an absolute world treasure. Hampton Downs is a proper international track. You know, it's a bit like Eastern Creek or Phillip Island. It's busy. You know, it's next to Auckland. You know, it's busy. And then we've just got Taupo, which is a beautiful track in the middle of the North Island. It's a lovely place to go and spend a weekend racing. So New Zealand's well sorted. But Queensland Raceway, and everybody said it's boring. And I guess it's easy to see how that could be the understanding. But when you actually drive it in a fast car, it's not boring at all. It's good to get a wee bit of a break because you know that bit straight. And then there's a turn. It's actually quite a difficult track to drive fast, I find anyway. And a lot of the guys say the same. And obviously the two top V8 teams test there, and you know they go all right too. So it was actually built for the V8 supercars. That's why it was built 20 years ago. For them, exactly for them. So they were given so much land. And they had to build a track that was 3.1 kilometers long. And the only way they could do that was to the shape that it is.
Yes.
And that's how it was.
Yeah, the paperclip.
And the lake or the dam or whatever you call it in the middle, they had to dig that out to get the fill the around the outside to keep the water, the floods from coming in, and also to give a viewing area as well. It's actually, you know, it's very nice to go up on the bank and watch the cars going round and round. It's I don't know how many people do that, but it's actually quite a good spectacle.
Oh, it's a great spectator venue just for that massive embankment down at turn 1 and turn 2. It's the perfect sort of amphitheatre, really. Obviously,
you can watch the HQs go off the track every lap, every car. It's incredible.
Plenty of gravel chaps to play with, right?
Well, they've made plenty of gravel traps, that's for sure, because the maintenance has been woeful. And you know, if I can just touch on that a little bit, and I don't want to say too much about it, but basically the track was so run down and in a dilapidated state of repair that it was an embarrassment. And I couldn't arrest it off John quick enough because I wanted to fix it, because I could see it was so obvious that it couldn't go on the way it was. And John used to say to me, "Oh, but I make money." And I said, "But John, any business can make money if you don't spend anything." And John's eyes are totally different to my eyes. He doesn't see what I see. And therein lies the difference. And we used to talk about, you know, Highlands and Hampton Downs and how I run my business over there and how he runs his business here. And I just could never be on the same plateau as John talking about the businesses. But anyway, all that's gone. There's nothing, there is no shiny bit. Like when you buy a business or a shop or a house or whatever, there's always a shiny bit, you know, like a new machine or a high pressure vacuum cooker or something that this is it, this is the golden bit. You buy a house, it's a view of the ocean or the mountain or something. Queensland Raceway had nothing, mate. There was nothing there that was working, that was of any value. It was just, it was just done. And I paid $12 million for it, happily paid, and I'm going to spend $10 million on it, just bringing it up to where it needs to be.
Yep.
I'm not modernizing it and changing tracks. And it's funny when you read some of the Google stuff, the Facebook stuff about how all these experts are telling me what I should be doing. They've got no clue as to the complexities of changing the track.
Of course.
Or any of that stuff.
Turn it into Oran Park,
mate.
Yeah.
Oh, just put a bridge and a tunnel in it. You'll be fine in a lake. I mean, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
But we will change it quite a bit. The next 6 months is about, obviously, the basics, the toilets, the cafe, and a corporate centre and a viewing deck halfway along pit lane. The track changes will happen this time next year, but they're going to be predominantly for the motorbikes and the slower cars. Not so much for the fast cars. So there's lots going on, and I'm very busy and I'm very happy.
Yeah, for sure. And you wasted absolutely no time starting at the most important port of call, so to speak, which was the toilets.
Well, absolutely, mate. And we've covered it off in Speed Cafe, but and I have a bit of a ditty about traveling the world to all the different toilets that you go to, and it's absolutely true. But I could not, and I knew that we were going to renovate them completely before Christmas, like now. But I couldn't expect any customer of mine to come to QR and go to those toilets without a clean. You can have an old toilet, and it can be clean. That's acceptable. But you can't have an old toilet that's not clean and you're getting eaten by a squadron of high pressure bloody mosquitoes that come from the Amberley Air Base that have been practicing over there, and they come into the toilet and you're sitting there trying to do your business and you're bloody trying to swat mozzies that are going to eat you. So you can't have that. So that was the first thing I did, was to get in there with a water blaster. It was quite funny in some of the comments. Like, my thing was just to get in there and clean it. But we had guys on the comment thing saying, well, what's he doing in there with a bloody gurney water blaster? He should have an XR4 fucking V6. What the? I was just doing my best.
Yeah.
But they came up good and they were clean, and that was a great start. Now they're all tiled and fully tiled, and hopefully something happens in Australia on the 1st of December. I think all the tradies think that the world's going to end just after Christmas. And so they all go away and disappear and give you all sorts of excuses why they're not going to be there on Monday. So they've all gone. So some of the toilets are half tiled and not quite finished. But I guarantee you by the end of January they'll be finished. Even if we have to import Brazilian tilers or something, we'll get them done. Promise.
You're going to do a grand reveal and you'll get the first go, right?
Well, it's a bit funny because, again, on Facebook, I think we should put up a photograph, because some of the colors that were chosen, not by me, but by my project guy, are awful. So I'm going to reveal them as his colors, not mine. No, but look, 1,000% better, and I'll be pleased for people to use my toilets.
Yeah, for sure.
No problem.
Yeah, it's
probably a fundamental.
It is, right. It's a thing that, like when we spoke about it last time, it is one of those things that you think about first thing in the morning, and it is one thing at a lot of circuits you dread going to, is having to use some of those facilities. So it's an underrated element of the circuit. I think
Well, there are many women, many women, right? 2 men have said to me that their wives won't go back to QR because of the toilets. They just won't go back. So we'll change that. We want the women to come back to the toilets.
Yes.
We're going to be a toilet thing.
That's your
never mind the racing. Never mind the racing.
No.
We're going to have things in the egg and spoon races around the toilets or something. We'll do something.
Yeah, circuit with the best toilets in Queensland or the country.
Well, look, I don't want to claim that just yet. That might be in 2 or 3 years' time.
Right. Okay.
But we have to get the fundamentals right first. So that's the first thing. Anyway, we've talked enough about toilets.
Yes.
There will be good toilets at QR.
Yeah.
There will be a decent cafe that people will feel safe in. and there will be viewing decks, there will be shade, and it will be clean.
Have you got a name for your cafe? Like
Pit Stop or Summer Grill, Speed Cafe.
That's a good name.
I haven't got any name for the cafe. Sorry, it fell down the list of priorities.
Toilets P1 cafe, secondary thought. One thing that came out recently in the last couple of days is obviously some interesting images of what Queensland Raceway might look like in a few months and maybe a year's time, sort of thing, in terms of the pit lane.
I can tell you, by the end of June, it'll look like that. And that's, if I dare mention, that'll be stage 1.
Wow,
and that's basically what I said before, was bringing Queensland Raceway up to where it should be. You know, if they'd invested $500,000 a year in the property or the asset, it would have been there, if that makes sense. But you know, I'm just going to take it up there in a hurry. I have to. It's what we have to do. Yeah. And you know, because of all of that, we've had the super bikes coming back in March. We've got, you know, all the CAMS guys, the Shannons and all those guys coming back, ARG, all those guys. V8s obviously spoke to me, and I said, well, look, I really prefer if you came back in 23, me telling them what they should be doing, but it would be better for everybody because, look, I'll tell you what, the Ipswich demographic are screaming out for the V8s to come back, right? But I think they should come back when it's the Gen 3, when everything's laid out, everything's proper, and it's been test run. You know, the lights and everything that needs to be done would be tested by them. And so I would welcome them back anytime, obviously, but it would be better for everybody if, and I think too, they've got a few commitments to sort out this year that because of COVID, you know, they've had to put things off. And so if they can get back to some normality, hopefully they can get back to Ipswich in 23.
Yeah, those renders that you put out, it felt like there was sort of almost like little bits and pieces from your own tracks that you'd sort of put together to make the sort of the pit lane facility.
Yeah, it kind of works. You know, where people go, this is my opinion.
Sure.
But you know, you can build a racetrack in Abu Dhabi or Dubai or even in South Australia. You know, like you can build a massive track with a hotel and things and wings and all sorts of things going on. But the reality is that your daily usage is very small in those circumstances.
Yeah.
Queensland Raceway is very busy as a track, a bit like Hampton Down and Eastern Creek. You know, they're very busy facilities. So you have to build them for the business that's there, not for the circus that comes to town once a year. So I think that's the reason that it will look and function as a daily racetrack.
And I think that's an interesting point too, because we read the comments, you know, and because you've got different circuits that cater to different sort of clientele, it's been interesting to see sort of what some people have said about QR, and I guess there is a little bit of a fear that it might become a bit like Highlands, but it's not, is it? It's going to be based largely around the clientele that's there.
There is one Highlands. There is one Highlands that if anybody ever goes to South Island, New Zealand, go to Highlands, you'll appreciate that there's one Highlands. It's not a racetrack, it's a tourist attraction that has races every now and again. Yeah. It's a totally different thing. There will only be one Highlands. There's only room for one Highlands.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, Queensland Raceway is never going to be that. But when we were talking to John about Lakeside, there's no doubt in my head that Lakeside was going to be a little bit of a members track. Goodwood, I mean, if anybody's been to Goodwood Festival, it's an amazing festival. You know, something like that at Lakeside would be what belongs there. Yeah. Doesn't belong at QR. And, you know, so QR will be a functioning racetrack, providing a safe environment for people that want to hoon about in the cars. The growth for Queensland Raceway is going to be nighttime activities.
Right.
Yeah. If we can get rid of the mosquitoes and keep them at bay somewhere over there, I think the nighttime activities will be pretty good. They already do stuff like roll racing and drifting at nights, and they get quite a big crowd. And I think that's probably doing the community of Ipswich some good. It's somewhere for the not so young teenagers, if you know what I mean. It's somewhere for them to congregate and enjoy their cars.
Yeah.
And know that the police are waiting at the bottom of the road, so they better behave.
Yes.
But I actually feel good about that.
Yeah.
I think it's quite a good thing for QR to do.
Definitely.
So we'll be putting in lights as well. Did I mention them? No, probably not.
Yeah. We'll see. It's the perfect sort of circuit for that demographic ride, and I feel like we all know how hot it gets out in Ipswich in the height of summer. So having the nighttime stuff is perfect, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's an exciting future, I think, for Queensland Raceway.
I think it's a great future, and I'll be honoured to be part of it. I'll be a small part of it, but hopefully I can set some foundations in place that people are proud of Queensland Raceway.
Yep.
And people will want to go there.
Yep.
I mean, motorsport as a sport is struggling a little bit with spectators. You look at a picture of Pukekohe in the 50s, you can see nothing but cars in the car parks. There's thousands of cars. You go there today, it's not the same.
No.
So racetracks have got to evolve as a business and supply different models. It's the racing thing is a part of it, but it's not all of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
One last question for me.
I'm ready to go all night. I've just started.
I was going to say, we could talk about toilets all night. What is your barometer for success with QR? Is it the reception that you get from your customers?
That goes a long way. And anybody that says it doesn't is kidding themselves. If you're in a business, whether you're making pet food or chocolates or whatever you're doing, or jerky, if your customers are saying, geez, you're doing a good job, that means a lot. It's a bit like your boss saying, well done, Simon, good job. It means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's no different for me. If people come in through the gate and say, oh, that's shit and that's not very good and I don't like that, that's the barometer, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if people say, good job, and mean it, and at my age you can work out if people are meaning it or not. I think, but I'm confident within myself that I'll deliver that.
Yeah.
And at that point, I become quite humble because I know I was always going to do that. I don't want it taken for granted, but I'll strive to make it like that, and I'll be very disappointed if anybody has anything negative to say about it. There'll be the odd person, but we'll chain them up and throw rotten tomatoes at them or something. That's what we do.
For sure. No, it's certainly an exciting time for Queensland Raceway. I think, for all Queensland motorsport enthusiasts, I think they can, really be proud of hopefully what you put together.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
No, I guarantee it 100%. It'll be a hell of a lot better than it's ever been before.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's not a political promise. That's a real promise. Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, I cannot wait to get out to Queensland Raceway and sample the toilets at some point in the near future. It's been a pleasure to have you on, Tony.
I would hate to end up dead and arriving at the pearly gates and St. Peter saying, oh, so who are you? And I said, well, I've done a few things in my life. I've made pet food, some chocolate, been here, jerky, and also a few racetracks. And Peter says, are you the toilet guy? And I go, yeah. Boy, have we got a job for you. Quick.
I think that's a good way to sign off for this episode of KTM Summer Grill. Stay tuned for more at speedcafe.com. Cheers. As part of this year's KTM Summer Grill, each week KTM is giving away the perfect summer beach pack, which includes an umbrella, cap, gym bag and key holder. To enter the draw, head to speedcafe.com or hit the link in the description below.